Lesson 5, Cascading and Strategy Execution. In this lesson, we'll discuss the last two steps of strategic planning process. Step 4, strategy cascading, and step 5, strategy execution. Let's start with the cascading. What is strategy cascading? Imagine that you have a top-level strategy map with some business goals. What if you show this map to the front line team? They will understand the general idea, but it will be hard for them to use that map as a guiding tool. It will not be specific enough for them. If we want to execute strategy effectively, we need to discuss what the top-level strategy means for other levels of organization and how they can contribute. That's the main challenge of strategy cascading. Imagine that we're discussing strategy and someone from the frontline business unit suggests an excellent idea. Should we consider it in the high-level strategy? Absolutely. In this case, the cascading term doesn't really help, as it implies the top-to-bottom approach. A better term would be alignment. It describes the same idea of achieving the coherence between objectives of different levels, but it does not prescribe a specific direction to follow. Instead of asking how to cascade strategy to all business units, ask how to align business units around common strategy. Another important question about cascading or alignment is how the different levels are connected. As we demonstrated in the strategy cascading article, the best practice is cascading by the business goals, not by the KPIs. But what does it mean to cascade by business goals? It means that on each level we discuss the best ways to contribute to the strategic goal. Let me illustrate this with an example. Imagine that we have different levels of the organization. Let's call them Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 1 is CEO, Tier 2 is marketing, and Tier 3 is a team of copywriters. On the Tier 1, CEO formulated a strategic goal: business development in the German-speaking market. When cascaded to Tier 2, this goal can look like create content for German-speaking auditory. When cascaded further to Tier 3, it can be formulated as create 10 articles according to established standards. We cascaded by business goals. On each level, we can now have some KPIs to make those goals more specific, and some of the KPIs will contribute to higher-level KPIs. Now let's see why cascading by KPIs might be a problem. The KPI for Tier 1 can be the number of qualified leads for the German-speaking market. Let's try to cascade the Tier 1 KPI to Tier 2. The number of qualified leads indicator makes some sense, as the marketing team will contribute to this KPI. Still, there are some doubts. The marketing team is not the only one involved in generating leads. Can the marketing team be 100% responsible for this KPI? I guess the answer is no. For Tier 3, the indicator number of leads won't make any sense. The team of copywriters is not directly involved in the lead generation. What's the difference between the first approach with cascading by business goals and the second approach with cascading by KPIs? The first approach implied some discussion. We are aiming at the German-speaking market. Great. How can the marketing department help? Create some content. Excellent. How to create a good content? Research the best practices and establish standards. The copywriting team will create some content according to the established standards that will attract more visitors to our website. It looks like a great plan. Now everybody knows what their role is. That's the cascading by the business goals. With the second approach, cascading by KPIs, we were mandating targets or indicators without any meaningful discussion. Here's our KPI. Show how we're going to contribute to it. Make sure you do cascading or alignment by business goals, not by KPIs. Once you're clear about the goals for each tier, find appropriate KPIs for those local goals and link different levels by KPIs if possible. How does cascading work in practice? If you use automation software like PC Designer, then it is easy. I recommend checking out the training video in the appropriate section of the user manual to learn more about the necessary steps. Now let's talk about strategy execution and reporting. Once the strategy is properly defined, described, and cascaded, it is ready for execution. How to execute a strategy? Here's what the strategic planning process suggests. Follow the logic of the goals as mapped on the strategy map. Track leading metrics to validate your team's efforts. Track login metrics to validate achieved results. Work according to the defined initiatives. Use dashboards to visualize important performance information. Do gap analysis. Analyze expected performance data versus actual results. Review your KPIs and initiatives regularly. Learn along the way and note down interesting findings. Revise your strategy to consider new hypotheses. And automation software will help with all these challenges. The practical challenge for this lesson, check out the article 12 examples used to align strategy. Find the approach to cascading that is used in your organization. Pick some recent challenges that your organization was working on. What was your response strategy? Were the different tiers of your organization involved? How was the strategy explained to different business units? Participants of the premium program, feel free to share your findings with the trainer for further discussion and exchange of some improvement ideas.